Walking around Chernobyl, I think it's understandable that I started contemplating not only the permanence of rocks, but also their decay, and by extension, our decay, death.
Well, I just watched the most deathest, stupid video I've seen probably... the last one I saw with Neil deGrasse Tyson was really stupid, but this one is practically just as stupid. Veritasium is a popular science YouTuber, and he's basically glorifying nihilism.
And this is why I find nihilism liberating and emboldening.
Hello, today we're going to talk about a concept called nihilism. Nothing truly has meaning, and everything's pointless. Count down the days until your death, because what's the point when the very universe is just going to swallow itself someday, and your meager little life would not have made a damn difference in the grand scheme of things. We are just falling deeper and deeper into the void, and we're all gonna die.
Like, it's all about how, okay, he went to Chernobyl, and it made him think about how nothing is permanent and that he's gonna die one day. And that basically, the whole point of this video is that he actually takes comfort in the idea that he's gonna die one day, because he won't have to live with his mistakes.
If you can really picture the nothingness that awaits you, then what is there to be afraid of? Errors and humiliations will be forgotten.
That's right. Because he's gonna die one day, he actually likes that. Because his mistakes are not permanent. That no matter, whatever he does, it won't be remembered. It'll ultimately be forgotten because he's going to die and cease to exist. And so nothing really matters. Yeah, that's right. He actually is glorifying nihilism. Almost 700,000 people liked this video, okay? I thought nihilism was supposed to be a bad thing, but he's actually trying to act like it's a good thing. And he's also completely defeatist, deathist, by acting like living forever is not even possible. Like, he doesn't even bring the possibility up. Doesn't even mention it. He just acts like it's certainly inevitable that you're gonna die. My gosh. Okay, well anyways, here's the conversation I had with my mom. So, Mom, what do you think of that?
So he's not an Eternal Life fan.
Mm-hmm.
He likes that it's coming to an end, because otherwise he feels like he just wastes his time. I could do it tomorrow. And the next day, I could still put it off. So, he's a nihilist. But he seems to still find meaning in relationships.
What do you think about his overall message? Didn't you feel, I felt like he was trying to say that he was glorifying nihilism, because nihilism, he takes comfort in it because if he dies and ceases to exist, well then what is his mistakes? He won't have to live with his own mistakes, right? Yeah. It means his mistakes aren't a big deal.
Some people think he's a jerk or an asshole, but he's not going to have to be aware of that once he's dead.
Isn't that a lame message?
Yeah. Like, don't take responsibility for your actions because you're going to be dead one day.
Yeah.
Errors and humiliations will be forgotten.
I mean, it completely detaches you from the guilt of your actions.
Someone could take that message and literally be like, oh, well then, I guess it's okay for me to murder. I don't have to live with it forever, right? And nihilism, like, he's actually glorifying the meaninglessness of life.
The fact that it's meaningless is you don't have to carry your guilt because I'm going to be dead. I'm going to cease to exist, so at least I only have to feel guilty for the next 20 years. As opposed to forever and ever. So be bad.
Yeah.
You could do that thing of Leonardo DiCaprio.
Mm-hmm.
With nihilism.
Yeah. Totally. I felt like, okay, this is like his gigantic coping mechanism for death. Trying to find the silver lining. That is like one of the worst messages I've ever heard. Disguised in such a poetic way.
Maybe he'd be willing to debate you sometime. Online.
I'd love to. But I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Well, hello there. It's Rowan's roommate again. Rowan was kind enough to let me be in his video. What a nice guy, right? He really is friendly. All right, so I'm not as friendly, and I'm gonna judge Derek Muller right now. That's his name. I did some research. Derek Muller. Now, the first thing I want to say is that it's like this guy is reading straight from the manual of deathism, man. Okay? Now, this guy, he is not a great philosopher. All right? Like, if you read the YouTube comments, people are like, wow, this guy is such a great philosopher. He's inspiring me. All this crap. His video was so not inspirational. All right, what I'm about to tell you, I'm going to inspire you. You want to be inspired?
Yes, all of my yes.
Well, here it is. The first thing you have to see with this guy, his little tricks, is that he is pretending to know that living forever is impossible. Like most of these other deathists. This is a classic deathist thing, okay? They're always acting like death is certain, right? Death and taxes. You're gonna see this come up again and again and again, all right? It's just like Caitlin Doughty.
Remember, someday you will die.
You know, she does the same thing. Always acting like death is certain and there's no way we're gonna live forever and all this stuff. That's what this guy's whole premise is based on. It's funny, it's kind of ironic because his little slogan is that the first principle is that you must not fool yourself. Okay, that's his little slogan in his channel trailer.
I make videos about science.
The first principle is that you must not fool yourself.
Well, guess what, Derek? You fooled yourself into believing that death is inevitable. When really, if you use some logic, you would see that there's a possible future scenario where humans could actually conquer death with technology and live forever. How about that idea? Ever heard of it? Indefinite life extension?
First of all, life extension. Because getting old and dying sucks, man. Fuck that shit.
Come on here. We can live forever. We don't have to die. Like you're proposing that like death is inevitable. Come on. Get real.
You need to get real!
If you noticed by watching Derek's video, he had the kind of the same attitude of Neil deGrasse Tyson's video that I made a few days ago.
Everybody wants to live longer, and I don't know what that means, to live longer. Suppose you could live 10,000 years. Then what's your urge to get out of bed the next morning? There's no time pressure on you to achieve, to accomplish, to love.
The sense that your soul is eternal makes you cowardly. There's always tomorrow, so we procrastinate living the life we truly desire. Your days are numbered. You don't know what that number is, but it's finite. And this is the thought that leads to action.
Which is that, like, it's the death that makes you want to live a more fulfilling life, because you have this, time pressure, and like you got to do all these things before you die, and let's get a good thing. Like it's kind of that same idea.
So get busy with what it is you want to do. Time is running out.
Dude, I get out of bed every morning, I do things, I live a fulfilling life because I want to live forever. That's why I do things. If it was impossible to live forever, then I would be a procrastinator. I wouldn't care about anything. So sometimes it works the opposite of what these people are saying. Because really, when you think about it, the idea that your time is going to be limited, that you're going to die one day, that should make you not care about anything. Because it's all going to come to a big crashing halt. And there's going to be nothing and nothingness, and your life's going to be meaningless.
Fuck it all.
That's what death should tell you. If you had to die, then that makes life meaningless. But this guy's acting like, oh no, it's the death. Death makes you're gonna live a more fulfilling life. You're gonna actually be motivated to do everything you need to do because you're gonna die. Stupid YOLO idea.
When we do acknowledge our impermanence, it is often through insipid catchphrases like YOLO.
The truth of YOLO is that you only live once, so you better not die. That's the real logo. That's what YOLO should mean if people were being actually smart. They go, YOLO, you only live once, so we better be as healthy and safe as possible so that we never die, so that our life can actually be meaningful.
And never travel by car or bus, boat or by rail. And don't travel by plane, and don't travel at all. Build a bomb shelter basement with titanium walls. And wear titanium suits in case pianos fall on ya. You only live once, don't let it go to waste.
You know, this guy's slogan, another one of his slogans is, an element of truth, all right? Veritasium. Veritasium. It's supposed to be an element of truth. Well, you know what? He's really giving you an element of lies. Because, you know, his mind, he's not even creative enough. That's his problem. Okay, he lacks an imagination that can imagine all the possibilities.
Just close your eyes, but keep your mind wide open.
He's got a closed mind because he's thinking death is inevitable. Like, why can't he think that, oh, maybe we could actually live forever? Is it that hard to imagine that we could come up with some kind of technology? Come on here. There used to be a time where we couldn't fly in planes. Now look at us. We're flying all over the place. Have a little imagination. Humans are powerful. We can do amazing things if we try hard enough.
Free your mind.
So there's no reason that we should accept death as being inevitable. So therefore, there's no reason we should be nihilists like this guy is saying.
It might drive you crazy to be confronted with the ultimate meaninglessness of everything all the time, what we call nihilism.
His whole nihilism philosophy is based on the idea that death is inevitable, that you're going to cease to exist. But that's not necessarily inevitable. Hello? It's obvious. Don't believe his lies, okay? He's lying to you. Maybe not intentionally, but he's just not smart enough to figure this stuff out, okay? I've thought about it a lot, because that's what I do. I sit in my room, and I think about all the possibilities, like a good philosopher should. They should not just, you know, come up with what they believe and then make some stupid YouTube video like this. They should actually think about everything, all the different possibilities. Derek Muller is what I would call a woo-woo philosopher. Okay, he woos people over with poetic sounding sentences. But really, if you really analyze the logic of what he's saying, it's just not there. It's like I would say he's similar to like Eckhart Tolle in that way. Or Deepak Chopra, right? These people are just idiots, but they kind of fool people into making them think they're smart by using, you know, large sentences and all this stuff and making, you know, confusing people. But really, his philosophy sucks. Big time.
This image here is one of my favorites. How to articulate that transient moment when you see something through the camera's eye. It's a little like love at first sight. It stops you in your tracks. Suddenly you recognize it for exactly what it is.
A load of bollocks.
You know, the closest I can come to imagining true nothingness is to picture the universe running really fast in reverse. All the galaxies squeezing closer together, stars expanding back into gas clouds, and everything getting hotter and denser, compactifying until the whole observable universe could fit into a room, and then shrinking further into a tiny point, and then nothing. Not the nothingness of empty space, but real nothingness, which has no size and no time. To me, that is probably what death looks like. A nothingness so complete you wouldn't even miss it.
Another thought I had was that, I think Rowan mentioned this also, is that his whole thing is basically his whole nihilism philosophy, and like that it gives him comfort. If you notice, that's kind of like his coping mechanism for death. He's probably terrified of death, and he comes up with this whole stupid, idiotic philosophy because it gives him comfort. And that's the other thing, okay? He calls himself a nihilist, but really, he's kind of a fake nihilist. Because if you notice at the end of his video, he starts talking about how that it's the relationships with people and the time you spend with people that gives your life meaning and stuff. Like,
we make our own meaning daily with each other.
Kind of a fake poser or nihilist. Not even a real nihilist. He doesn't have the... It's like he doesn't have the guts to go in the full way. He likes to say he's a nihilist so that he can all pretend to be all cool.
They're schemers. Schemers trying to control their little worlds. I'm not a schemer.
But really, if you wanted to be cool, how about trying to live forever? That's the only way to be cool.
What's the matter with me? Why can't I be cool?
Not being a nihilist.
Everything becomes chaos. I'm an agent of chaos.
I'm not a nihilist. Now, I would be a nihilist if death was inevitable, because then it would actually make sense to be a nihilist. But death is not inevitable. We could actually live forever, and therefore our life can be meaningful. So his main problem, once again, is that he pretends to be certain of the inevitability of death, which is the biggest problem ever. Because if you're going to pretend to be certain that death is inevitable, how are you ever going to be motivated? How can the world ever become motivated to actually try to defeat death, conquer death with technology, conquer aging? How about that idea?
Is such a thing even possible? Yes, it is.
Here's something he said. He said, "Our greatest delusion is the thought that we are in any way eternal." Now, in some part of this, I want to agree in the sense that it is delusional to say that you know you are eternal. It is delusional to say that you are certain that you're going to live eternally. I would, as an Eternal Life fan, I would never say that. I would never say that I'm certain that I'm going to have an eternal life. But it's something I want, okay? Now, this is where he gets it wrong. He doesn't even allow for the possibility of it. He doesn't even mention it. He just he just assumes it's a preposition of his that of course no one's going to live forever.
If you can really picture the nothingness that awaits you, then what is there to be afraid of?
Hello? He's a defeatist. He's a fatalist. If I can really picture the nothingness that awaits, what is there to be afraid of? A freaking hell of a lot, man. A hell of a lot. Here's what. I'm afraid of not getting to experience the beauty and the joy of being alive. That's what I'm afraid of. That's why non-existence sucks. Why is this so hard for you to get? Okay? Life is freaking amazing and I want it to last forever. I am greedy and gluttonous for life itself. I have a lust to be alive because it's freaking fun, man. It's fun, and I like to have fun. death, non-existence, an eternity of nothingness, oblivion, blackness. That sucks. Duh.
Duh.
You know, I really wish that more people would just admit that they're afraid of death. Like, just admit it to yourself. Death sucks. Admit it's okay to be afraid. You don't have to hide it. If you're not afraid of death, you're crazy.
I act scary, Mike. But most of the time, I'm terrified.
And then he goes on to say, we want to believe that some part of us, our consciousness, or our soul, will last forever. Heck yeah, I want that. I don't want to just believe it, though. I want it to be true. I want my consciousness to go on forever. As far as the soul, I don't believe we have a soul. I'm a physicalist, okay? But I hecka want a soul. Heck, I wish I had a soul. Gosh, I wish those religious people were freaking right. I don't think they're right. I think they're just deluded to think they have souls. But, I mean, at least I would say it's a possibility. But this guy's not even admitting for the possibility of it, which is just another, shows he has a closed mind. And then he goes on this whole spiel about stones. Like, just because stones... He compares stones to us.
We want to believe that some part of us, our consciousness or our soul, will last forever. But what do you make of it then when you see stone is not even so permanent? Walking around Chernobyl, I think it's understandable that I started contemplating not only the permanence of rocks, but also their decay, and by extension, our decay, death.
I don't make much of it. Just because a stone isn't permanent doesn't mean that humans cannot be permanent. Want to know the difference? You want to know why? Because a stone is just an inanimate, non-intelligent nothingness. It doesn't have an intelligence to maintain itself. Humans, on the other hand, we're a complicated machine. We have a brain. We can potentially fix ourselves. We can maintain this machine forever. If it gets broken, we can repair it. We can do this indefinitely with life extension technology.
Now that is very important. That shows that for simple man-made machines like cars, maintenance works. If you're thorough enough and comprehensive enough about periodic repair and maintenance of a machine, it's going to carry on working a lot longer than it was designed to. Now, the human body is a machine. It's a really complicated machine, but it's still a machine. So maybe the same sort of thing would apply.
The stone, if it gets broken in half and crumbles into dust and then, it can't do anything about it. We can. If our arm gets cut off, we can get a prosthetic arm. You know what I mean? If our heart is starting to fail, we can get a prosthetic fake heart. We can do this potentially forever. Just fix ourselves forever. All right? Is that so hard to figure out? So this comparing us to stones and saying that, well, stones aren't gonna live forever, and by extension, we can't live forever, is nonsense, okay? Stones are not people. Bad analogy. Honestly, he does not sound too bothered by the idea of dying and ceasing to exist. Look, listen to his tone in the video. Did he ever sound upset? Did he even describe the feeling of being upset about the prospect of dying and ceasing to exist? I don't think so. Kind of sounded like he was, happy about it.
You don't fear death. You welcome it.
He took comfort in nihilism. He took comfort in the meaninglessness of everything.
First you're born, then there's work, then you die. That's it! When I say life, you say meaningless life. Meaningless life! Meaningless! We're all just specks of dust.
Clap along if you feel like happy
because, oh, it's meaningless, and therefore, because he actually takes comfort because if he dies and ceases to exist, then he doesn't have to worry about his mistakes. It's like he wants to have no responsibility. He wants to be able to do anything he wants without having to live with the consequences of his mistakes.
Bring me down, can't none bring me down.
You know what? I want to live forever, and I have no problem living with the consequences of my mistakes forever. I realize that living forever, you have to have a very good reputation because, you know, it's going to stay with you forever. You're going to have to live with your mistakes. And I want to take responsibility for those mistakes rather than cop out like Derek Muller, say, hey, you know what? I'm glad I'm going to die because then I don't have to live with my mistakes. How stupid is that?
Why do you go around making other people look stupid?
Well, Derek, I just happen to enjoy making people look stupid because I'm a very judgmental person.
I'm more militaristic than anybody in this room.
I don't care if people hate me for it, which they probably will, because most people don't understand the value of judgment. They're just people pleasers, politically correct, waste of space. Most people don't stand for anything of importance. And when you stand for something like me, you're gonna find stupid people to judge because they deserve to be judged. And you gave me the perfect subject matter. It's your own fault.
I might cry.
Go ahead. I won't judge.
The sense that your soul is eternal makes you cowardly, because failure would stick with you forever, for really ever. Shame, embarrassment, disappointment, they would never leave you. And we live in more fear.
Speaking of the fear of death, I noticed that Hank Green, there was a picture of Hank Green in the video. And Hank Green has the YouTube channel, The SciShow. It's a famous, popular YouTube channel. And Hank Green, ironically, sure sounds like he hates death.
I hate death. More than 150,000 people die on this planet every friggin' day, and their bodies are just succumbing to the dirty work of aging. And I'm tired of it.
And it sounds like he fears death. And he even probably wishes he could live forever. In fact, I think there was a video I saw where he did say he wishes he could live forever.
I wouldn't mind being young forever. So, you know, immortality. I can have it.
And frankly, I think Derek Muller should take a little bit of advice from his friend Hank. They're probably friends. Yes, in fact, they did a video together. So, yeah, they're probably friends. You know, but I don't want to promote Hank Green too much either, because he's also a fatalist.
Hello, future dead person.
Hank Green also pretends as if death is certain, like he cannot have the imagination to realize that living forever might be possible with futuristic technology that could be just coming around the freaking corner. But Hank Green has too much of a small mind to understand this.
Everyone you know someday will also be dead too. We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die. It's the one sure thing on which every living thing can rely. We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die. Everyone so far has died too. There's not a thing that you can do, and you and me and us, we're all gonna die.
That's why he has a video called Dear Future Dead People, as if it's an inevitability. I think one of Derek's biggest problems is not being optimistic enough about the potential of the future, potential of humanity. Have some faith in the power of humanity if we all work together to fight death and aging. These horrible things that do make life meaningless, if they were inevitable, that's the clincher. Okay, if they were inevitable, life would be meaningless.
First you're born, then there's work, then you die. That's it! When I say life, you say meaningless life. Meaningless life! Meaningless! We're all just specks of dust.
If death and aging was inevitable, I would be right there with you, Derek. Understand? But death and aging are not necessarily inevitable, which is why your whole nihilistic philosophy that everything is meaningless is bullcrap. Logic. How about that?
I like flunked that section of the SAT.
All right.
Seriously.
Okay. Well, let's
even if we had, let's say, indefinite life extension, okay? It's not a guaranteed living forever. It's not when we cure aging, it's not like, oh, we're gonna be a guaranteed immortality. No. That's not how it works.
This is the world we live in. This is the fucked up nature of it. There are no guarantees. There is no safety net. This is just how it is.
We cure aging, that's just the first step. There's always going to be dangers and threats to our existence, which is why humanity would never procrastinate, because we would still have to work as hard as heck to avoid all the other dangers to our existence, all the other threats.
What? Allah Akbar!
Right? We would still have to make sure, like, even no matter how good of a body we had, let's say we created an avatar and we were like in pretty much cyborgs and metal bodies, and even at that point we're not immortal, we would still have to make our bodies even better. We would have to create an environment that is ultra safe. Therefore, this whole idea of that we'd procrastinate if we had immortality or whatever. The whole concept of immortality is pretty much a ridiculous concept, because immortality implies that you are going to live forever, as if you knew you were going to live forever, but you could never know the future. Therefore, you could never know you were immortal. You would always have to fear the possibility that you could fail and you could die and cease to exist. That's what would keep the fire under us, and that would keep us alert and wanting to do things and work hard at helping humanity improve for survivability, right?
Well, as you can see, when the burglar trips the alarm, the house raises from its foundations and runs down the street and around the corner to safety. Well, the real humans won't burn quite so fast in there.
Cool, high-tech security system.
You want to be cool, Derek? You want to be cool like me? How about promoting life? That we could actually live forever.
Yes! Anything less than immortality is a complete waste of time!
Now that's an inspiring message. Your message sucks, man. And just the fact that anyone's inspired from it, they're just as ridiculous and not smart as you are. And I don't want to sound mean, all right? But I'm a really smart person. Look, I want to be your friend. That's why I want you to get to rise, okay, to my level of logic and philosophy. Because you're amateur, man. All right? Really amateur. You haven't thought this through.
Well, I have some bad news for you. You can't outrun the hearse, the explosion of the sun, or heat death of the universe. We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die. It's the one sure thing on which every living thing can rely. We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die. The singularity won't save you. There's not a thing that you can do, and you and me and us, we're all gonna die. I forgot the last verse. The marvelous truth of it all is that death is such a gift, because the only reason we can die is that we even live.
How do you know the singularity's not going to save me, okay? You don't know that, but you say it like it's a fact. And how do you know that there's nothing we can do? What the heck? Kind of ridiculous thing to say, that there's nothing we can do to avoid death.
You don't just make some video like that and not think your philosophy's through. I really thought my philosophy's through. You get this? Living forever is very important to me, and I've thought about it. And the first thing you realize is that it's freaking possible. You haven't even gotten that far.
You don't have to be a total genius to figure this out, even though I am a genius, okay?
Your whole philosophy is based on a false premise that you're going to certainly die one day. Really.
So this is learned helplessness. They have learned that there's nothing they can do to stop that uncomfortable situation.
Like so many other ancient philosophers before you, you have failed miserably. Really. What I'd recommend for you, Derek, is go to a quiet place and start to get back to that place where you were when you were a child and you had an imagination and you had creativity, where you could start thinking about amazing scenarios of possibilities of the future, when you didn't pretend to know things that you don't know, like that death is inevitable, which you're pretty much claiming to know. The imagination, the childlike imagination, that's what you're lacking.
And this is why I find nihilism liberating and emboldening. If you can really picture the nothingness that awaits you, then what is there to be afraid of?
We're all gonna die and cease to exist. However he thinks it's gonna go down, he's obviously assuming that death is inevitable, that death is certain. Probably, I'm assuming he's thinking the heat death of the universe, his own personal non-existence. It's just all these assumptions that he's gonna die, and there's no possible way. Oh no, he can't even imagine a possible way that he could live and not die, because his imagination is so small and pathetic.
Well, some people use their imagination.
Your days are numbered. You don't know what that number is, but it's finite, so...
He said, your days are numbered. It's finite. As if it was a fact. You see what he's doing here? Pretending to know something he doesn't know. Very bad philosopher. What the heck? I'm sure I'm not the only person that can recognize the idiocy of this.
Time is running out.
We're all gonna die, we're all gonna die. It's the one thing you can't live through. There's not a thing that you can do. And you and me and us, we're all gonna die.
Man, you are one pathetic loser. No offense.
You know what, though? I'm not surprised at all that Hank and Derek have such a fatalistic, pessimistic attitude, because that's the way our world conditions people. People have been brainwashed from a young age to believe that death and aging are inevitable things.
I'm gonna live, I'm gonna fly, I'm gonna feel, gonna die.
We really need to overcome that conditioning. It's a learned helplessness.
The point being, you need to find a way around the learned helplessness mentality, the employee mentality, and find a way to realize that things that seem impossible can be accomplished if you really accept that you have control of these things, that it's not outside of your control.
You know, there's really no excuse for this kind of fatalism because there's been people of every age, of every century, that have been trying to live forever. Okay, there's been people way in history, people sailing the seas for some kind of fountain of youth. There's always been people, and people trying to create elixir of life.
Buttered fingers.
There's always been the people with the hope of living forever at every time period. So especially now, in this time period, there's even less excuse not to try to promote a more positive, hopeful message that we could cure aging and live forever. Because look at the science. Look at the science, how much it's advancing quickly.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah! I read you.
We really do have a chance to live forever.
Time is running out. That's true. But we can give ourselves more time if we cure aging on time for us so that we don't have to die. Yay, let's do that. How about that?
Like, I'm actually super genuinely excited about this.
You know, death is the easy way out. You know, whatever happened to dreaming big? You know, big results require big ambitions. And, you know, anyone could die. It's living forever that is the true courageous thing to do.
Courage. Courage is the key to life itself. For primitive beings like us, life seems to have only one single purpose: gaining time.
That sometimes the greatest secrets in the world are hidden just beneath the surface. One need only have the curiosity to find them, the courage to see them, and the persistence to not give up along the way.
You know, whoever is watching this right now, I hope you realize how precious your eternal life is. Just the possibility that you could get eternal life, you should really understand how important that is. You should understand that there's nothing more important than living forever. Eternity is the goal, okay? Eternity is the goal. And the fear drives you to work for eternity, right? So that you don't have to die and cease to exist.
Chief, mate, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky.
I'm certainly not saying it's going to be easy. There's so many ways we could fail and die.
There's a battle ahead. Many battles are lost.
And some people are going to say I'm overly optimistic. Well, what other choice do we have? Either we say that life is meaningless, or we try to live forever, and we have hope in that possibility, and we try our hardest to make sure that that becomes a reality.
It's hope that I will live forever.
You hope for it, and that hope is what motivates you.
And hope was high, and life worth living.
But someone like Derek here, Derek is going to more likely to fail. He's more likely not going to live forever. He's more likely going to die because he's a nihilist. He thinks that his death is inevitable, and so he's not going to be motivated to try hard. He's not going to be motivated to spread the message of eternal life. And he's going to be bringing a bunch of people down with him, bringing a bunch of atheists down with him, thinking that they're going to be content with their nihilistic, meaningless oblivion.
We're all just specks of dust!
when really they should love the idea of eternal life so much. They should be so in love with that idea that they just could not, you should never accept failure. It's too much of an important idea. You should always aspire for it. You should always try for it. Because otherwise, life is meaningless. Otherwise, if you don't get to live forever, nihilism is the truth, and that would suck. We don't want nihilism to be the truth. We want eternal life to be the truth.
And seriously though, do we even have to die? Like, come on, do we have to? Yes, is the short answer. We do have to die.
Don't be too sure of yourself. No matter how smart or well-educated you are, you can be deceived.
Even though it appears that everyone has died before us, no matter how bleak the situation looks, we have to be hopeful. Otherwise, we will go insane.
That's it. I'm done. I'm feeling sick. Feeling sick to my stomach. Listening to this Derek video made me sick. There you go. Derek, look what you did to me, man. All I do is try to help people like you. And you're bringing a bunch of people into this deathist philosophy. Bothers me a lot, man. Let's live forever, man. I want to inspire you. This is not meant to just attack you and bring you down. I want to lift you up, man. Derek, all of you guys, all of the atheists out there in the world that think that death is inevitable, that you're embracing nihilism. That's what you guys are doing. You're embracing it. Don't do that. We don't have to embrace nihilism. We can live forever.
Ring, ring.
Hello? Dead people are losers. Okay? Losers. If you die, you're a loser.
Never stop, you can't give up until you reach the top. You're the best in town. Listen to that sound.
We can cure aging, transhumanism, life extension technology. This is the inspirational philosophy that we must embrace, not nihilism. Nihilism does not have to be our reality if we can live forever. Have fun forever. My gosh, don't you want to do things in the future? Don't you want to see the future?
Obsess about the future.
The future is going to be freaking awesome. Life itself is too awesome to give up and to fall into some nihilistic type of thinking.
You know, maybe Kramer was right. Some people should just give up. I have.
You can't give up. Life is about fighting for our survival. This is life or death. You have to have a fighting spirit or you're gonna crumble. You're gonna crumble into dust. How pathetic. We can't give up. If we give up, we lose. We're losers.
You're wrong. Stop it. No.
No. I don't want to be a loser. So the question is, are you going to be a fatalist? Are you going to accept your death as being inevitable? Or are you going to fight for the possibility of eternal life?
A little fight in you. I like that.
So I'm just going to leave you guys with this one last thought. Like, I know that living forever can seem like a pipe dream. It can seem very far-fetched, but I've gotten discouraged myself. But you just have to keep a positive attitude and remember that pretty much anything is possible if we put our minds to it, if we never give up, if we try our hardest. Excuse me. Hello?
I know that you're afraid.
Who is this? I think everyone knows I'm afraid. That's not a secret. Who is this?
I don't know the future.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin.
Okay, I'm listening, but who are you?
I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see.
What the heck do you mean? I'm not hiding anything from these people. I'm trying to enlighten them.
I'm going to show them a world without you.
A world without me? What, is this supposed to be some kind of threat? That sounds like a threat.
A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries. A world where anything is possible.
Anything is possible. Hello, that's what I've been saying this whole freaking time. Can you believe this guy?
Where we go from there is a choice I leave to you.
What do you mean a world without me? What do you mean by that? Hello? Hello? I'm totally freaked out right now. A world without me. Can you believe the nerve of this person?